Welcome to this segment of Principled Truth. We learn wisdom from failure much more than from success. We often discover what will do by finding out what will not do. And probably he who never made a mistake never made a discovery. It is so simple to be wise. Just to think of something stupid to say, and then don't say it. What am I trying to get at here? I'm trying to get at the fact that we learn best not necessarily from other people's mistakes, but from our own. This segment is directed at people in college who are just about to graduate or getting close to the whole process. And I'm not saying to you that you're going to go out and fail, but I can say this, and this is a quote from William Saroyan. Good people are good because they come to wisdom through failure. We get very little wisdom from success. And that's true. If you graduate from college and you immediately create the next Facebook or the next super widget or whatever, I can almost guarantee you at some point you will hit a wall. Just think about this for a minute. Everyone knows who Steve Jobs is, one of the most successful men in this country and the founder of Apple. Well, what happened to him? If you know his history, Steve created Apple. And, of course, it takes Herculean effort to create anything, whether you're Steve Jobs or Michael Dell or whoever you happen to be. But what actually happened to Steve Jobs? If you know the history of the whole thing, he was literally thrown out of his company by his board of directors. Why? Well, I think what happens when you become successful too easily, too quickly, sometimes it goes to your head. Not sometimes. It does go to your head. And that's what happens to people who hit it right off the bat. I used to have a philosophy many years ago. And my philosophy, I didn't know it then because I was naive, but my philosophy was ready, fire, aim. Well, as I've gotten along a little bit in life, I've discovered that there's a lot more wisdom and you're much more likely to hit your target if you use the philosophy of ready, aim, fire. If you have back pain, joint pain, or muscle pain, please listen to this word. Biomat. B-I-O-M-A-T. That's Biomat. Contact radiantlight10@gmail.com. That's radiantlight10@gmail.com. Please understand that I'm not saying that you should just run out and see if you can fail. That's not what I'm talking about. It just seems to be one of the constant lessons in life that we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes. This seems to be the way it is. So as I sit here thinking about people getting ready to graduate from college and thinking about the whole premise behind Principled Truth, which is helping people to really achieve the goals that were given to you. In other words, what I'm trying to say is helping people to reach the point where they're actually doing and using the gifts that were given to them. The gifts, I don't mean birthday presents, I mean the gifts that the good Lord put into us, our innate abilities to be whatever they happen to be. We all have talents that have been given to us, and I think one of the most important things that I can do in helping all of you who listen and who participate is to help you understand that yes, indeed, you can do something that you really love. You can work at something that you are really skilled to do. Of course, you have to have education, you have to have experience, and you have to acquire expertise, and you have to make mistakes, because that's part of the learning process. But we all have gifts. Everybody does. We're all here. We all have a purpose if we can harness that purpose. And one of the interesting things about statistics in the United States is that the average person will have somewhere between 3 and 4 careers during their life, different work areas. And I certainly can ascribe to that. But what I'm trying to do is to help you see where you need to go and to follow whatever it is that you really think is what you really want to do. I mean, I know it's often, especially with young people, that parents have an idea of where they want their child to be. I think back to the movie The Graduate, a classic movie, The Graduate, and I think it was one of Dustin Hoffman's relatives, The Graduate's relatives said, "Plastics, my boy, that's where it is." And I don't think that the character really had any real interest in plastics. But the point there is that people get pushed into doing things that they don't really, really want to do, or maybe it's not that they really want or don't want to do it. It's not where they're really supposed to be. Think about that. Did you ever just sit there and say to yourself, what is it that I really, not what I want to be, but what is it that I really like to do? And I know there's some wise guys out there saying, yeah, what do I really like to do? I like to sit on the couch and eat nachos and watch television. Or I like to play computer games. Or whatever. Well, think about it for a minute. There may be, if someone, for example, if someone really likes playing computer games, could it just be that maybe you have a creative streak and that you would like to work in the computer game industry, and you might even be able to be creative in that area? Nothing is far-fetched. Nothing is far-fetched if you really think about it. But here's the key. The key really is, as I sit here and think about this, you need to do some soul searching. You need to really ask yourself, seriously, without joking around and fooling around, what do I really like doing? I'm not talking about a job now. Just someone sat you down, or you're looking in the mirror when you're shaving in the morning, or you're grooming yourself, or putting your makeup on, or whatever. Just look in the mirror and say to yourself, what do I really like doing? What do I really like? Ask yourself that, and then think about it. Because once you define what that is, once you really know what it is, well, that's halfway to the point of success. Maybe that sounds like a very premature statement for me to make, but it's not, because it's just like solving problems, like problem with a car. Well, if you don't have computer diagnostics, how can they figure out what's wrong with a car? Maybe you asked yourself, what is it that I really want to do, that I really like to do? And you can't really give yourself an answer. You're not absolutely certain about that. Well, there is an answer, and the answer is a very simple one. What you do is you get out of school and you go out and you get a job. And you may find that that job is just wonderful, and that's the field that you want to work in, and you're going to progress. You also may find that you're going to make mistakes. I was listening to someone talking about that this morning, a fellow who's becoming quite successful, a gentleman by the name of Andrew Breitbart. You may know who he is. He had quite a bit to do with the Drudge Report years ago. Has become very successful. Anyway, he was talking about this, and he said the first 3 years after he got out of college, he was angry. And he had several different jobs, and he felt badly afterwards because he felt that the jobs that he had and the work that he didn't do a good job at it. And it's because he wasn't happy. But also, it's part of the gaining experience. So what I'm suggesting here, if you're not certain of what it is that you really want to do or what field you want to work in, when you graduate, just get a job. Sure, try to research and go to the place that you think at this point in time in your life is where you want to be and where you want to have your life's work. But go do it. Go make the mistakes. Jump in the water. You'll find out that that way you will learn a lot more and get a lot closer to where you really need to be than you would be if you just try to theorize the whole thing and then on the first shot out of the cannon start working in the right field, and that's it. So go out and make the mistakes. It's a good way to learn, and don't feel badly about it, because making mistakes is not necessarily a situation of guilt, fault, and blame, but rather it's a situation of garnering experience, and that's what you really need, is experience in order to move through life in the way that the good Lord wants us all to. My name is Milton Corey, and I'm the host of Principled Truth, and thank you for joining me. And please respond. Call us, email us, blog us, do whatever you want. I'd love to respond to you, and happy to do so. God bless you.